Hi everyone, it's Grada here from the Purple House, and today I'm talking about a special subject. Sorry, I'm just going to sit a little bit closer. Peter set this up for me, but I feel a bit small. And I hope the light is alright. Okay, so it's a bit of a struggle finding the best place in the house. And at the moment I'm sitting in the clinic. Alright, hang on a seckie, because I wanted to have my hands free as well. So how is everybody? How are you all? Okay, alright, that'll have to do. So tonight I want to talk about something that affects all of us, and that is abundance blocks. So, and I mean money blocks. I don't mean abundance, nicey abundance. I'm literally talking about money here. So how do you know that you have an abundance block in your body somewhere? Well, the answer is actually very easy. If you don't have $1 million in your bank account right now, you have an abundance blockage. And so, like, if you think of Peter and me, there's two of us, and I have 6 children, and they have partners, and they have children, and so there's 25 of us in the Robertson clan. So by rights, we should have $25 million in our bank accounts between all of us. That would be the case if all the money in the world was shared out equally. Because, did you know, there's so much money in our world that if it was all shared out equally amongst the 7 billion people, every single person would have $1 million in the bank. Hi, people that are watching, I can't really see very well. But anyway, tonight in this light. So I really want to talk about how I want to show you something that can help you set you up for life a bit better. Because imagine if the world changed today and all that money that's available would become available for every single person in the world, and I would receive $1 million in the bank tomorrow, and so would you, and so there would be total equality. It wouldn't take long, it would only take a week or a month, or not much longer, and we would be back to square one, and everybody would be back where they started. So the rich would be rich again, and the poor would be poor. So sometimes people find that hard to believe, but that really is true. So abundance, or being rich, literally having lots of money in the bank, is an inside job. It's not an outside job, okay? Your bank balance is a very, very clear reflection of how developed you are in your nervous system. So what that means is the person who is sitting on $20,000 a year has a different nervous system to the person who is earning $70,000 a year, and that person has a different nervous system to the person who is earning $500,000 a year, and so on. So let's say Richard Branson's nervous system is very different to mine. Okay, so this is actually a subject that's really close to my heart, and talking about money is also a bit controversial, but I want to talk about it because money is often the biggest stress in people's life. So today I'm 56, and money doesn't really stress me out too much anymore, but you know, I'm not on par with Richard Branson by a long shot. But there was a time in my life, actually pretty much you could say 4 decades, where we really struggled financially. So okay, so my parents, they were okay with money, but sometimes they had money, sometimes they had a lot of money, and other times there was nothing, because my dad was a boom and bust person. And then when I was 19, I migrated to Tasmania with Peter, and we literally didn't have a cent or a coin to rub in between us, and we had nothing, and we had no job prospects, nothing, and I was pregnant with my first child, and we just hoped for the best. So when we arrived in Tasmania, we actually lived on the dole for the first year, which wasn't much money 37 years ago. And Peter did some cash jobs on farms, and we really struggled financially. But because I was young and adventurous, it didn't seem to impact me that much till Joe was born. That's my eldest son. And then I really felt the crunch, because honestly every night I cried because I didn't know where we would be the next morning. And it didn't seem to affect Peter that much, but I might have had a touch of postnatal depression. And we moved around, I don't know how many times in the first 5 years of our marriage. We moved into different houses and places probably 10 times. I've lost count, might have been 12 times. So that was very stressful. So then we traveled around a little bit more. Then I was pregnant with number 2, and when Lisanne was born I was 21. I had 2 little babies. Peter just started his nursing training, and we were just incredibly hyped up, because when you have children it's more painful when you have no money. And I started to look for work, and I got a job as a house cleaner come babysitter. So I babysat 2 other babies under 4, plus my own babies under 4. Plus during that time I had to clean this person's house, and I got $5 an hour for that. So I was doing that when I was 21 and 22, and that paid for our rent. So I've always, I think what saved me though was that I always looked for opportunities to be unstoppable. I let nothing stop me ever from living my dream. So I had a big dream somewhere in the future. I knew that I wanted to do what I'm doing today, and even if it cost me everything, I would do it. But looking in hindsight, of course, I had massive abundance blocks, because Pete and I did everything the hard way. Okay, so I'll cut a long story short. So we had like 3, 4, 5, 6 children by the time I was 31. But then we lived on a farm way back in the sticks, where we chose to live, by the way. And life was still incredibly tough financially, because the interest rates were 18% at the time, and we pretty much borrowed everything that we had, was on either a mortgage or something. So Peter worked full-time as a nurse and a midwife in Scottsdale. We had a farm, so he came home, he worked on the farm at night, and in the early mornings the kids had to help out on the farm. And of course I did farm work as well, and then we started to grow proteas, and in the meantime I always kept busy, like in here as well, studying and preparing to eventually open my own clinic. So massive abundance blocks. But some people would say, you know, that it's a good thing to go through the school of hard knocks, and there's something noble about living your life like that. But in hindsight, I can tell you, if I knew then what I know now, my life would have been really different, because now I know abundance is an inside job. So my nervous system was always geared like it had a cap or a ceiling, that we would never have more than $5 in the bank by the end, when the paycheck ran out. And we basically lived on the smell of an oily rag. And I probably thought that was a good thing, because I was very caught up in a Christian mindset in those days. That probably Christian thing is like, don't be greedy, what is it, riches that sets you up for hell, blah blah blah. It's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich person to go into heaven, da da da. So all that kind of scary talk. So my big change came when Tom went to school. That's my baby. So he went to school when I was 36 or 37, and I started investing in myself. By that I mean I started to pay for courses, I started to study, and then I opened my own clinic. So I was just very single-minded about where I was going. My why was enormous, but my why wasn't just money, of course, but the lack of money really was what stimulated me. There was an urgency always, because I had to help put food on the table and look after the 6 children and pay the mortgage and so on. So so then in the year 2000, so I was 38, I started my own clinic here, and I worked really hard. And eventually, of course, not eventually, within a year I was doing energy work. So within a very quick time I became familiar with the energy flow in the body. I could feel it very strongly, and I could feel where people's blockages are, and then if I remove those blockages, people's life will change overnight. And so of course I worked with my own abundance blocks as well, and within a very short time Peter was able to actually give up his full-time nursing job. That was amazing. And I remembered I had saved $5,000 in cash. Don't tell anyone. And we went on a holiday with the whole family to Cairns. And I actually had spending money there, so that was amazing. And that just made me feel so much better. So you know the rest of the story. So I was still working with my own invisible abundance blocks, and I thought I was actually doing really well. I was extremely happy when I was 43. The clinic was doing well. We bought a second building, we were expanding, and then I got hit by a truck, and that put us way back where we started, or worse, because my body was, pretty damaged, and we had a double mortgage, and our income was halved. In fact, it stopped altogether for a while Peter was with me. So you know what, I had consciously worked so hard on my abundance block and bettering myself, or freeing myself up, and unbeknownst to me, really deep down in my psyche and in my body, I still had that cap, like that upper limit to my abundance. And it wasn't the universe or God that punished me. That's what I thought at the time. It was my own subconscious patterns and programming that brought me low again and back to square one, or worse, because now I didn't even have a body and I couldn't work physically anymore. So that's my story about abundance. So you know the rest. I picked myself up. I really started listening to my body. I started delving into my past, looking for patterns, because we have parents. So look at your parents. Were they rich or were they poor? So my father's parents, they were very well off in their time, so going back 100 years ago. Somehow or other they seemed to make it. My father wasn't like that. He was a boom and bust person. But my grandparents on my mother's side, they were very poor, although by Dutch standard in those days, at least they had food on the table every day. But there were 12 kids living in a cramped house in the middle of a city, and were absolutely, in my opinion, terribly poor. They didn't have a bathroom or no luxury, nothing. My grandmother had to carry her pram up and down 2 or 3 sets of stairs every day, and she had 12 babies, so you can imagine. And if she left the pram outside, it would be stolen. So they had it tough. So there's all this information in our body and in our energy field. This is a real long spiel, by the way, but it's important that you understand that your abundance blocks are not just going to disappear overnight. It takes dedication and commitment, okay? So, okay, that's my story. So today, I'm in a good spot. I love my life. I have a beautiful property. I built a big teaching room. I had it built, I should say, like a huge teaching room, because I wanted to teach people everything that I've learned the hard way, you know, so you don't have to learn it the hard way. Plus I want a beautiful setting where people can absorb that information really, really quickly and get a sense of abundance. So my teaching room is like a palace hall, really. It's absolutely beautiful. And before I had my own teaching room, I used to sometimes hire the school hall, and I would find that took a lot of my energy to create that sense of wealth and happiness, to lift the energy. Whereas now I'm in a beautiful place. It supports me. I feel supported. So, and by the way, I'm a work in progress. Okay, so I'll just give you some shortcuts, some real tips, little tips towards your abundance. So first of all, be really honest with yourself and ask yourself, do you have plenty of money? Do you have $1 million in the bank, which is what you could say you're entitled to? If all the money was divided up equally, you're entitled to $1 million. And if that was the case, we would live in a much better place, by the way. The world would be more peaceful. You wouldn't have to work all the time. You would have plenty of time for play, for creativity, and for connecting with each other, which is what we all love to do. And you would just feel a lot more loving and less stressed. So be honest with yourself. At the end of the day, how much money do you have left in your bank account, or at the end of each year? And even sometimes people find they're just working harder and harder, but in actuality, their money still seems to be kept, I'll say something, at $30,000 a year, which isn't a lot of money in today's standards at all. So if that's the case, you know you have to work with your subconscious, okay, with your body. The blockages will be in your body, quite often in the conscious mind as well, but that's easy to address. You just need to make sure you think the right thoughts, like you just say to yourself, I'm open to gifts. I'm open to incredible gifts. That's a good thought. And if you feel a negative thought, you just say to yourself, not that thought, not that thought. And then you say, I'm open to gifts. Okay, that helps you to just snap out of a depressive or pessimistic feeling, and you feel optimistic. But the real key is for you to delve deeply into your subconscious, that you don't have any sneaky blocks that you've inherited from your ancestors, from your childhood, from school, from church, from the government, from your community, and from past lives as well. If you believe that, past lives can also have very big influence. So to train your nervous system up to go the next step, let's say you're earning $30,000 but you want to be able to earn $70,000, well, I'm just going to give you a few tips. In the first place, you have to look after the container, and the container is you, that's your body, okay? Because the whole point about money and abundance is that it only serves us while we're in the body, because once you die, you don't need abundance because you're in a different realm. So look after your body. And one of the first lessons I learned when I started to study was that if you're dehydrated, if you're always dehydrated and your cells are struggling to produce energy, you're not going to attract money in your life, okay? Because remember, money is an inside job. It looks like an outside job, but it's an inside job. So drink your water, drink your quota of water. I'll do that now actually, because my throat is dry. Drinking water would be the biggest challenge that we all have, right? So if you weigh, let's say 75 kilos, so I have to drink 2.5 liters of water every day with some salt in it for your minerals, because minerals are the spark of life. So if you're mineral deficient, I bet your bottom dollar, you're also not going to attract money into your life or produce money. All right. So that's really important. Look after your body. That's the container, that's the vessel, and it's also radiating that information out to the world. So my body was obviously magnetizing being hit by a truck, okay? But you want to magnetize that sums of money are coming towards you, because money in the hands of good people is what's going to transform the world. Okay, money in itself is not evil, it's completely neutral. If you have any weird ideas around money, you also need to check in. So right now, if you have a pen, write down this sentence and close your eyes, and I say to you, I'll say to you a sentence, and you just feel in your body how that sits with you. So I'm going to say to you now, I love myself for feeling rich. So I'll say that to myself. I love myself for feeling rich. And you can say, money is good. Or say this, I'll say this to you. I love money. Say that to yourself. I love money. How does that feel? If you feel resistance in your body, that already means you have a block there, because remember, money is neutral. It's not good or evil. Like I said, money in the hands of good people does miracles in this world. So when I said to myself, I love money, and probably because I'm feeling a bit exposed right now, I literally feel a little bit of an energy block here. Okay, so that means I still have a little bit of resistance to abundance. So how can I deal with that? Well, tonight I'm going to use an essential oil, which I inhale. But if you don't have an essential oil, that's okay. Just feel where you have an energy block in your body. It can be anywhere. Most likely it will be in your heart or in your tummy or in your brain. And just close your eyes. Inhale 3 times. Relax everything and visualize your body is a money container. And just see it go from being a very small cup into a big, like, cruise ship or something like that size. Or if that's too hard, just turn it from a cup into a bathtub. Just feel your body expand. If you use essential oils, it makes everything a little bit easier, because essential oils, I call them kinergetics in a bottle, because essential oils, they also help to clear some of that negative programming, and they raise your frequency. All right. So water and salt, look after your container, which is your body, which is where all these programs are, whether you like it or not, they are there. Take care of your body. Spend time meditating and relaxing and opening up. It's all about expanding, all right? Because when we get stressed, we're like this. And when we're like this, we're not open to receive anything. Imagine if money flies past and it's just all, you missing out the whole time. So what changed me, remember, from 4 decades of hard work, I'm not saying that I was unhappy. I was happy and I was fulfilled. But in hindsight, if I had a choice, I could rewrite my life again. I would definitely do it different. I would address the inside person first. And then my whole outside would have changed, and my children wouldn't have been as traumatized as they are from their childhood. Sorry, kids, for all the stress that I caused sometimes, because we just had to work so hard and we were sleep deprived. I mean, and we didn't go on holidays and we didn't have as much fun as we could have had, even though life was good in the scheme of things. But life is only good because compared to, say, third world countries, we have it really good here. But that's not the point. That's all smoke screens, okay? If people say that to you, that's just a smoke screen to confuse you. You're entitled to at least $1 million, and if you don't have that in your bank or in equity, you need to keep doing your inside jobs. So invest in yourself. So also find the resistance in your body and work with your resistance, because resistance is the opposite to joy. Remember, the resistance train slows your energy down. The joy train opens you up and makes all good things flow to you. All right, so choose joy all the time, but you can't choose joy if you are a bucket of resistance. So feel your resistance. That means stress. Find your stress points. Just do some breathing in, or sit like this. Do some of your meditation. Listen to meditation music, until you feel opened up and relaxed, and you can have your mantra that is, I'm open to incredible gifts. Okay, that's an easy one. That's also neutral, and it's kind of exciting. If you say, I'm deserving of incredible gifts, sometimes people don't feel that, and it feels to the body that's a lie. So then you're better off saying, I'm open to incredible gifts. So of course, also come for a treatment, because when I work with clients, I clear all their abundance blocks every single time they come. And also in my Search to Success program, we do the same, and I teach you how to work with your own abundance blocks, which is like worth lifetimes, okay? Because my life, my transformation is transforming the lives of my children, and I feel like crying now, to be honest, because this is so important to me. They don't need to do it the hard way like I did, or like my mother did, or my mom's family did. They know the answers, and they have the key to abundance. I'm not saying that they're turning that key every day of their lives, they don't, but at least they know where to look for when they're stuck, and they can come to me. So I do the same with all my clients, because I love my clients and I want the best for all of you. So it's always good to come for treatment. People say, sometimes they say, but you're too expensive, or your programs are too expensive. Well, they're worth it a million zillion times over, because I can find your energy blocks that you can't find yourself. And by the way, I go to some of the practitioners here to find my energy blocks that are invisible to me. And then literally, sometimes clients leave, literally the phone starts ringing and orders start flowing in and money starts flowing into their life. So that's like so important to me. Okay, what else do? So yeah, invest in yourself, that's the point. And it pays back a million times over. And I'm telling you, it's super cheap. What we charge here is absolutely nothing compared to other services around the world, because I've traveled a lot, and I've been everywhere and compared our services with what happens in other world-class places around the world. And Pete and I have created the best here. And I've even had job offers to come and work in California, in Queensland, in other major cities of the world, but I don't want to. I just want to stay here, because this is where my family is. And I'm not just talking about me, by the way, but I'm also talking, of course, about my team here, which are all awesome. So remember, money is an inside job, not outside. If you're finding you're just working all the time and in that rat race, you have to stop and you have to do something else. And not just for your sake, also for your children. And don't be the same as your parents, because you have the power to change it, all right? Oh yeah, so what else can you do? I just want to give you one little tool, okay? So every day, this is just to help your nervous system change, say from 30,000 to 40,000 and to 70,000. Every day, do something that you find difficult, like do something challenging and do something different, okay? So, and it doesn't have to do with money at all, because we're talking about your nervous system in general. So let's say, what can I use as an example? I promised my father when he died that I would look after Betty, that's my stepmom, and I haven't looked after her very well at all. She lives in Scottsdale, and I have millions of excuses every day. Plus I leave it a lot up to my siblings, because they're a little bit closer, maybe, not really, but anyway. So as soon as I hear, oh, one of my siblings has been to Betty, you know, I sit back in my chair. So after this Facebook Live is over, I'm going to give her a ring and see how she is. Okay? So that's something that maybe I find it a little bit challenging to do because of the loss of my dad and her loss as well, and I feel her loss and so on. So it hurts me to do it. So, but it's good for me. That's tuning up my nervous system. So every day, in fact, before you go to sleep at night, think of something that you need to do the next day. Just one thing, write it down. One thing that you have resistance around, and you do it. I'll say something, go for a half-hour walk, but that might be easy for you guys. So that's probably not so easy for me. But anyway, think of something that you have a huge amount of resistance around, and write it in your diary. And you only need to think of tomorrow. Don't think of the next 50 years. That's how we create another smoke screen. And just do it, and do something like that every single day, and that's priming your nervous system. And then you say, I'm open to gifts, I'm open to incredible gifts. So, but you're also taking action, and that's what the universe wants. So this is a long, you are the miracle FM, because I want you all to experience miracles, and you are the miracle, by the way. So the miracles are an inside job as well. So keep doing what you're doing, keep tuning in. Tell people about my Search to Success program, because I would still like a few more people in the weekend one that's coming up. The weekend one is very, very intensive. It's like a boot camp, and it transforms your whole life. Okay, so we're clearing our abundance blocks there too. Please love yourself. Okay, remember to love yourself. So if you pour because you're struggling like most people, you just tell yourself, I love myself for feeling poor. If you open your bank account and it looks terrible, you say to yourself, I love myself for feeling anxious. I love myself for feeling worried. I feel worried sick. I love myself for feeling worried. I love myself for feeling stuck. I love myself for feeling trapped. I love myself for feeling unworthy. Just be honest with yourself and just love all those feelings, and they will disappear, which again creates an expansion, because when you hate yourself, you close down. Okay? So I love you all very, very much, and I'm going to say goodbye for this week. Hi Judy, thanks for watching, and Steph, and I can't see anybody else because of the light here. Thanks for watching, and hope to tune in to you again or next Thursday. Have a really, really good week, and play around with tonight's information and expect miracles. Bye.